Welcome to our latest lesson from the Center for Ascension. My name is Russ Hatfield, and I am the twin soul of Kara, who is behind my shoulder. She is a higher dimensional member of Ashtar Command, stationed on Hades base. Korton has another course on communication, so it is coming from an expert. He will explain the importance of being clear and concise in all conversations because words have meanings and explaining things needs to be done in a way that is clearly understood. He stresses finding the beauty in wording no matter the planet or language being spoken. You can follow our online transcript at the link below of our homepage, centerforascension.org. Please subscribe if you want at the end of this video to be alerted to future challenge sessions, editorials from Kara and myself, and lessons from the Center for Ascension. And now, the power of words.
It is important to remember words do mean things. This is important. It is of importance also to be patient when communicating, to take the time and not talk down to an individual, regardless of how intelligent or unintelligent an individual appears. There is no such thing as stupid. Stupid is a word. It implies that somebody lacks intelligence. This is incorrect. Everybody has intelligence, just in different ways. By stating that a person is not intelligent is defeating the object of communicating with them. When you talk down to them, they do not learn, they do not comprehend, they do not understand. This is wrong. It is important to communicate, as always stated, crisply, clearly, concisely, and eloquently. When dealing with individuals that have a limited vocabulary, it is necessary to plan to talk longer, to articulate in different ways, due to the fact that a limited vocabulary means that an individual can be more descriptive. By making a statement of a simple phrase, it's a quick way of explaining what convoluted is, if you understand what convoluted means. Assuming that an individual does not know what convoluted means, it becomes more beautiful in the explanation. Convoluting meaning that a thing is twisted, turns within itself and outside itself, and continues on in a linear line. That sounds so much better than just saying the matter is convoluted. Where an individual is of equal or greater intelligence, then being able to articulate quickly and concisely by using words that mean much more than just the word. For example, again, convoluted, it speeds up the communication process, but takes away some of the beauty of the language. The language that you speak is part of the beauty of communicating, whether it is Earth English, Syrian, Derongaton, Earth French, High Syrian, Water Syrian, or Lowland Syrian. It is the beauty of how you articulate that is important. Sometimes it is best to communicate just yourself, to hear how beautiful the language that you speak actually is. The fluidity and the understanding of the words is important. But words spoken on their own can be just as beautiful. If you take a large word, let us say facetious, and instead of saying facetious, you say the person was, and you use descriptive terminology instead of the word facetious. That is important because it shows the beauty of the language and the grasp that you have. In a matter where it is necessary to be quick and clear and concise, as I have previously stated, then certainly use large words that cover a wide variety of instances. Questions.
Yes.
When discussing questions and answering questions, it is best to pause and wait instead of jumping in before an individual has appeared to have finished answering the question, as was just animated. That was done deliberately. But it was used as an explanation. Now you may ask a question.
Yes. People say you don't have a sense of humor, and I like to just basically disprove
Okay.
that. Has just been pointed out.
Okay.
The question, in other words, that was rather humorous.
That was not an attempt at humor.
I know.
That was done as an explanation.
It comes off quite well, though. In a way that's easy to understand and learn from because it was humorous.
If you so wish it to be humorous, then it is humorous. I do not see the humor in it myself.
Anyway, now one of the problems that arises from this, I'd like to work with you a little bit, is when you are so concerned where conversation and communication is so crucial that by saying the wrong thing, you could upset an entire process, then doesn't the worry about saying the wrong thing basically slow down and defeat the purpose you're trying to get to because you're so...
I said when it is appropriate. I did not say that it is always so. When it is appropriate to be eloquent and quick in your explanations, that is normally when you are explaining something to a person that you know and trust. In politics, as I started off by saying, words do mean things. You have to be cautious and plan accordingly. When communicating with somebody in a political setup, you have to weigh and think your words very carefully. When I communicate, I pause. That is a moment for me to think, what am I going to say next? How am I going to articulate in a way that is easy to understand and will not be overlooked or misunderstood or taken incorrectly? You have to be very careful. It is sometimes necessary to use long explanations on a simple question because you have to elaborate on what you mean. And in elaborating and pausing at the appropriate places, you have time to think and group yourselves for a manipulative move in a political scenario that is a way of benefiting without causing problems. Next question.
Okay. Well, one of the jobs that I have at the computer store that I work at is training people in how to access the internet and their email. When I'm doing so, I often have to deal with people who have no prior knowledge of computers, other people who have vast amounts of knowledge of working with computers. Your explanation helps me to work with them on a little bit better scale, but at the same time, in using this as a training tool, how could I better utilize it?
By using analogies and descriptions and thinking carefully so that the individual you are communicating with will understand in the best possible medium. The medium depends on the individual, as you have pointed out. If it is a person that has lots of experience with word processors or computers, then you can use jargon. If an individual has never had any serious experience is with a computer or a word processor, then you have to be more elaborate in your explanation and think things through carefully and proceed carefully. After all, one incorrect click of your arrow pointer could throw away hours of hard work. Next question.
When I was working, or when I will be working with people visually to teach them how to use the internet in the coming future, or I'm not just using words, but I'm using actions. How do I blend the actions and the words together to make the message come through in the clearest form possible?
Well, obviously, you do not stand totally stationary. First of all, it is important to lean in towards them, no matter how they may radiate an odor. By leaning back, you say, I do not like you, I do not trust you, I do not feel comfortable with you. When you lean forward, you are saying, I accept you, I feel comfortable around you. Secondly, eye contact. Making that direct eye contact and looking them directly in the eyes when communicating with them. But it is important also to remember that some people do have a problem with making eye contact, as they also have problems with people invading their space. A gentle touch on the shoulder as you are communicating with them. For example, let us say you have a young lady that wishes to access a, what do you call it, communication mail? Email. You're standing behind her, looking over her shoulder. You put your hand on her shoulder in a kind of soothing way, not too much. If she pulls away, you remove the hand. If she stays like that, as you are talking and pointing and talking her through the action, you are maintaining that friendly contact. You may ask a question.
Okay. Now then, how do I use the same technique in my everyday life?
By the same method. It is a general, basic situation. Eye contact, physical contact, moving closer. But it is also important to remember that there are people out there that will not make eye contact, that do not like to be touched, that do not like people moving close to them.
Right, you have to intuitively feel that.
Correct. If you start and they pull away, you do not do it again. If you look and they look away, then try occasionally a few times more as they become more confident. If they behave in certain ways, you do not do that behavior.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. You may ask a question.
Okay. In these coming talks and conferences, working with the various channels that I'm doing, with those people, I'm accepting them as equals and talking to them as peers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What about when I am talked down to?
Sorry, that is two questions. But I will answer. When you are talked down to, be patient. Be courteous. Assume a stance of friendship. If they are talking down to you, be nice. Be approachable. Be friendly. You will be guided in what is right and what is wrong. You will be told or pointed in a direction that will help you be most beneficial. There will be times where, if you are talked down to, you must inform the individual that everybody is equal in your eyes, regardless of how unintelligent or intelligent they appear to be. It is important when meeting an individual for the first time by saying, "Hello, my name is Russ. We are all equals here when we discuss things. We are here to benefit as a common good." And if they are listening, they will hear the words, "We are all equals here." If they talk down to you, you can remind them gently. Do not say, "Please don't talk down to me." That will cause problems. But by casually bringing it up in conversation and making that all-important eye contact, you are confirming the fact that you are an equal and that everybody is an equal. Excellent. So you see the importance of A, being eloquent, B, making contact, C, maintaining that even keel. It is important to maintain a neutrality. When emotions get into a situation, the harm that can be done can be grossly detrimental. Damage done may take a long time to repair. I am sure that you can count many individuals where you have got off on the wrong foot and will never know their companionship, their friendship, their comradeship, because of getting off on that wrong foot on the first meeting. Some of your species has this terrible habit of giving one and one chance only. There are times when that is appropriate. There are times when that is not appropriate. That is a matter for the individual that is making that decision to decide. However, sticking to your guns is important. If you make a decision that there is a second or third chance, then you offer that many chances. However, if an individual decides that there is one and one chance only, that should be left open to debate on the premise of you all make mistakes. You all fall off the path from time to time. However, sweeping it under the carpet is inappropriate. When saying this is your last chance, after many chances, it must be followed through. An idle threat serves no purpose, and if it is repeated many, many times, it is an idle threat. So it is necessary to address each situation in an appropriate manner. You have to weigh on the motivational capabilities of yourself and how you will address that. So by laying down a structure and laying out a format that is approachable and communicative, it is important to stick and address each case on a case-by-case point. It is no good having a general rule of thumb for every situation. Every situation is different. Every action is different. So communicating as eloquently and concisely as possible and laying out a fieldwork, a groundwork that is necessary, and an objective that is necessary for a particular goal, and I'm sure you are well aware of what I am leaning to, is important. Each matter must be addressed to help remedy the overall communication difficulty. It is important frequently to reiterate. It is also important to give compliments and confirmation that an individual or individuals are doing a good job. They are progressing in a way that is desirable. When addressing individuals, not an individual, it is important to make them feel comfortable and at ease, so that the learning process and the discussion is much easier. You may ask a question.
That's all I have.
You are welcome. I will conclude by finishing briefly. It has been an honor and a pleasure